In the early 21st century, the world is reeling from a devastating Third World War. The survivors band together in Libya, a city under the control of the totalitarian Tetragrammaton Council. This regime enforces daily injections of prosium-2 on all citizens, suppressing emotions and ensuring obedience. Anything that stirs feelings, such as art and pets, is forbidden, and those who indulge in such sense offenses face execution, as the Council blames emotions for causing wars. To maintain their grip on society, the Council deploys a group of highly skilled fighters called clerics, experts in the martial art of gun kata. Beyond the city's borders lies the Nether, a lawless zone where most illicit activities take place. Currently, clerics John and Errol, along with their special team, launch a raid to neutralize rebels from the underground. The team confronts rebels barricaded inside a building, engaging in a firefight. John, armed with 2 guns, enters the building and remarkably dodges enemy fire. He uses the gun kata technique, a blend of geometry and psychology, to eliminate the rebels with precision, remaining unharmed. Upon securing the area, they uncover a hidden cache of forbidden art, including the Mona Lisa. Despite verifying their authenticity, John orders the artwork to be incinerated. During their return to headquarters, John discovers that Errol has taken a book and inquires about it. Errol, wary of leaving evidence behind, intends to log it himself. Meanwhile, in the city, Father, the council's leader, appears on screens, reminding people to take prosium, claiming that it's the key to peace. Father is ubiquitous on screens, but he has not been seen in person for a long time. Upon arriving at headquarters, John reports to Vice Consul DuPont, who commends his work. DuPont questions how John has developed the ability to sense strong emotions in others. John attributes this to understanding the enemy's mindset. DuPont then inquires about John's family, to which John coldly reveals that his wife was arrested and incinerated as a sex offender years ago, earning DuPont's reproach for not recognizing his own wife's criminality. Later, John reviews car recordings and becomes suspicious of Errol's behavior. Upon further investigation, he discovers Errol has not logged any evidence for weeks, including the book from their recent raid. John decides to return to the Nether to locate Errol, discovering him reading the book in an abandoned church. When confronted, Errol laments humanity's loss of emotions, admitting he would endure the consequences to feel again. Errol attempts to reach for his gun, but John is quicker and kills him. Before departing, he covers Errol's face with the book. John meets Brant, who will replace Errol as his partner and expresses his desire to match John's skill. At home, John's son Robbie reports witnessing a boy crying and contemplates informing the authorities. Surprisingly, Robbie addresses John by his name, not his dad. That evening, John has a nightmare about the day his wife was arrested. While he initially resists the arresting officers, he ceases resistance when informed of his wife's sex-offending status. As she is taken away, she kisses him and asks him not to forget her, witnessed by their children. The following morning, John accidentally shatters his prosium vial. Robbie reminds him to collect a replacement from the Equilibrium Center, but upon arrival, John learns it's temporarily closed due to terrorist activity. Brant arrives for a mission, and John opts to proceed without revealing his prosium deficit. John and Brant raid a woman named Mary's house. John hesitates when Mary is pressed against a mirror, recalling his wife. After Brant shatters the artistic frame of the mirror, they discover a hidden room filled with contraband. Mary grabs an officer's gun, prompting Brant to shoot her. John prevents further action, seeing an opportunity to extract information about the underground. Mary is taken to headquarters for questioning. John asks about the rebels, but Mary redirects, asking about his purpose. John explains it's to maintain societal order, but Mary points out the circular nature of his existence. After observing the recruits' training to ease his mind, John abstains from taking his prosium injection at night. He dreams of his wife's arrest and awakens to witness the sunrise through an untinted window. Overwhelmed by emotions like awe, John rushes for the syringe gun but cannot bring himself to take the injection. Before work, John conceals his prosium vials behind a bathroom mirror. He observes others' emotions and rearranges his workspace. During a mission targeting sex offenders in the Nether, the officers engage in a brutal firefight with rebels. John becomes deeply affected when he accidentally locks eyes with an enemy, witnessing the life fade from his opponent. He is disturbed by the blood on his hands. Amidst the chaos, John discovers a hidden room filled with forbidden items and plays Beethoven's Ninth Symphony on a vinyl record while gazing at a snow globe. The music moves him, leading to a heartfelt cry. The team incinerates everything, and John discreetly keeps a book. An officer announces the discovery of animals, and they execute the dogs. John attempts to object but fails, except for one puppy he rescues, claiming it should be tested for diseases. Later, John confronts DuPont, expressing his objection to executing rebels and suggesting they be arrested and interrogated as per the law. DuPont informs him of Father's mandate to eliminate all rebels on sight. John retrieves Mary's belongings, finding a ribbon with a distinct scent that he keeps. He ventures to the Nether, unknowingly trailed by Brant. Officers surround him, demanding identification, but John has left it in his coat. When officers are about to open the trunk, one recognizes John and apologizes for the inconvenience. However, the puppy's yelp betrays them, leading the officers to the trunk. They force John to kneel, but he fights back, using their weapons to eliminate them. More men lie in wait in vehicles, and John takes them down as well, swiftly acquiring their weapons. He departs with the puppy. The following day, John conceals his prosium vials behind the bathroom mirror before a sword training session with Brant. They engage in a friendly fight, their skills closely matched. Brant taunts John about the mysterious Nether murders, claiming that the council will expedite the defeat of rebels now that those officers are dead. Their match ends in a draw, and they proceed to a new Nether sector. While searching the area and engaging in another firefight, John encounters a group of rebels but instructs them to flee. Rebels fear that John will shoot them in the back, so he guides them through corridors to find a hiding spot. They encounter officers along the way, and John dispatches them, providing an opportunity for the rebels to escape. Following a fierce battle in which John eliminates all the officers, he returns to find the rebels captured. Brant knew John would lead the rebels to him, ordering John to execute them. John reluctantly complies. Later, John visits DuPont, expressing readiness to become Father's instrument against the resistance. DuPont assigns him the mission to dismantle the underground. John goes to the morgue to apologize to Errol's body and discovers Errol's pictures, one of which features the word freedom. He rushes to question Mary about Errol but, getting no answers, reveals the incriminating picture of her with Errol. As she continues to withhold information, Mary attempts to stab John, who blocks her and gently touches her face. Stirred by the memory of his wife, examining the picture and the word, John remembers a place called the Freedom Reading Room where a teacher reads the manifesto to young men. He visits the place, dispels the students, and intimidates the teacher into revealing Errol's frequent meetings with a man named Jurgen. John forcefully dismantles the shelves and confronts Jurgen, who reveals that the rebels have been monitoring John. Jurgen takes John to the underground, where rebels secretly preserve objects of beauty. John undergoes a polygraph test to confirm his emotional capacity, which fluctuates when Mary is mentioned. Jurgen informs John that he can only find contentment by allowing himself to love Mary, but John reveals her impending execution. John offers his assistance to the underground, and Jurgen requests that John kill Father. Upon leaving the underground, John is surrounded by guards and taken to DuPont, who has heard rumors of a cleric abstaining from prosium. DuPont questions John's recent activities, and John claims to have been trying to contact the rebels, vowing to intensify his efforts. Later, at home, John leaves a prosium vial inside the mirror and observes his children while they sleep. Robbie startles him by calling him Dad. The next day, John visits Mary, who realizes he hasn't been taking his injections. She comforts him by touching his hand, sensing his inner turmoil. Later, John meets with Jurgen, explaining that killing Father is impossible due to his inaccessibility. Jurgen asserts that John is the key to the plan, and if he eliminates Father, the rebels will destroy the prosium labs across the city, allowing emotions to resurface and rally people against the system. John reluctantly agrees. Back at work, John glimpses the preparations for Mary's execution on screens and is reminded of the footage of his wife's death. He watches in horror as he appears emotionless during her incineration. Driven to make amends, John rushes to the incineration room to save Mary, but he arrives too late. Desperate to prevent an explosion, he watches helplessly as Mary perishes and has a breakdown. Brant apprehends John, beating him in public before taking him to DuPont. Brant accuses John of involvement with Mary in the murder of Nether officers. John reminds DuPont of his mission to expose the traitor among the clerics and points to Brant as the culprit. DuPont inspects the gun used to kill the officers, finding it to be Brant's weapon. Confused, Brant examines the gun he carries and discovers that John switched their weapons the previous night. To cover for himself, John claims Brant confiscated his firearm during the arrest. DuPont orders Brant to be taken away for judgment, but he informs John that a team will search his home. John pretends to comply, expressing disappointment over not having met Father despite being instrumental in the underground's destruction. Subsequently, John finds his prosium vials missing from their hiding place, with Robbie admitting to taking them to protect his father. He confesses that he and his sister stopped taking their injections after their mother's death, and John gives them his blessing before leaving. Moments later, John meets with the rebels, pretending to have located the underground. Officers arrive to arrest the rebels, and John is hailed as a hero. On the day of the council meeting, John is subjected to a test, surrendering his weapons and undergoing a polygraph. When asked about the easiest way to disarm a cleric, Brant suddenly appears, whispering the answer, "You ask him for it." Father, who appears on a screen, reveals that Brant's arrest was part of a long-term plan. Father discloses his true identity as DuPont, explaining that he has been using recordings to conceal the real Father's death. The council has elected him to carry on Father's legacy. Enraged by the deception, John retrieves hidden guns from his sleeves and embarks on a killing spree, eliminating everyone in his path. He confronts DuPont, and Brant serves as his bodyguard. John engages in combat, and with swift strikes, he decapitates Brant. DuPont seizes a gun and attacks John, who takes a weapon from a fallen guard to defend himself. Although DuPont is a formidable opponent, John eventually overpowers him, leaving DuPont to beg for mercy and admit his own emotions. John coldly shoots DuPont in the head, Before departing, he destroys the machines broadcasting Father's messages, signaling the rebels to bomb the Prosium factories in the city. The populace begins to realize that it's time to challenge the system.
Thanks for watching, and if you are new to our channel, subscribe and click the bell icon so you do not miss out on our latest videos.